I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Welcome back to Oops, the podcast, everybody. I'm Francis, and this is my dear friend and co-host, Giulio Gallerati. Giulio, how are you?
What's up, bro? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, friend.
2021, dog.
It is.
This is it.
Here we are.
This is it.
What a wonderful thing to turn the corner.
Yeah, it's great.
It's exciting.
I don't necessarily attach significance to years like that, though. I'm not like, thank God it's over. Like, obviously, yeah, I'd love to have like a better year in general, but I'm not like, I don't feel relief that it's over.
This is a year I'm excited for the first time, where I think that I look at this upcoming year as a time where some very big things might happen. But
Good.
You know what's sad?
Love it.
You said that to me last year. You said, I think 2020 is going to be a big year for you, Francis.
I think it has been.
It's been a good year. It's been a good year. Yeah, it has.
But I see what you're saying still.
No, I think you're right.
It's been a big year.
I think I shouldn't be hard on myself.
We've done a great job with the podcast. You've sort of discovered alternate side parking Thursdays, which is quite the discovery. I gotta say, dude.
How about that hat, though?
I know.
Huh?
Fucking rocking
Check out
the
this
ASB
lid
Thursday
that
hat.
Giulio's wearing. And by the way,
Get him if you can.
Yeah, good luck.
Good
there
luck.
are only about 14 left that aren't spoken for. So
limited edition items.
By the time this episode comes out, I don't know that there will be any left.
Yeah, there's people lined up down the block waiting for them.
There are guys in folding chairs bringing their aunts out to take their place so that they can use the bathroom, and then resuming their chair because everyone knows the law of hype beasts.
There are tents in the street.
As you have to have someone in line at all times.
Did I ever tell you guys that story, the PS3 story?
Did you ever do?
Have I told this?
A camp out
this
for
is
something?
a good one. This is a good one. This is a good one.
Oh, goody two shoes.
All right, dude. So I have this friend Brent, and this guy, he's funny. He talks in sayings. Like he'll be like, oh, what's going on? He has this deep voice like this, deep voice like this. He has like kind of like a Midwestern accent. And like, for example, he'll invite me to Florida, but he'll be like, how about you migrate down south?
I love
Got
that.
taken to the cleaners. Like he says shit like this constantly. It's so funny.
May I pause you for 1 second?
Sure.
People like that are actually quite impressive, because in order to pull that off, you have to have so many different sayings.
He has so many.
And they don't repeat themselves.
Yeah, sure.
And to have a mastery of that many idioms is something I don't have.
Dude, it's pretty incredible. Like he works in finance, and I'll ask him about like stocks. I'll be like, what do you think about Airbnb? He'll be like, thinking about getting your beak wet?
Yeah.
Like
right.
shit like that, you know?
Yeah.
All right. So anyway,
Good.
we're in college, and PS3 is coming out. I think that's what it was.
It's PlayStation 3.
PlayStation
everybody.
3. And
Game console.
you know, Brent comes to me. He's like, "You thinking about?" He's like, "There might be kind of big resale value here. Should we scope it out?" So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." I was like, "I don't really have enough money to buy one because I think they were like $400 or something." And he was like, "Don't worry." He's like, "I'll stake you, and like let's go figure it out and like camp out and do it." So I was like, "Okay." So we go to like, I believe it was Dedham, Massachusetts. Like not that nice. Was that what it was? It was a neighborhood on the outside of Boston that wasn't very nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's escaping me specifically
Needham?
where it was. Dorchester. It was like one of these kind of like, not Needham. It was like a kind of like a dodgy periphery of the city kind of situation. At Best Buy, we decided to post out.
Yep.
So we get there the day before, and we get in line. We get our place in line. So we borrow our friend's car. We're kind of like sleeping in the car, taking turns, going in and out of line. And it's like a little chilly, and it starts becoming crazy. Like there's all sorts of characters in this line. So around 3:00 in the morning, the place will open up the next day. And at like 10 p.m. that night or something, they give you a ticket for your place in line just to guarantee your spot in line, just in case it starts getting crazy. They give you a thing being like, here it is. So at like 3 a.m, this like really sketchy guy appears, and he starts scoping out the line, and he comes over to me. He's like, hey man, he's like, and he had like a big neck tattoo of a note, of like a musical note. This guy was named Miles. And he goes, hey man, he goes, how much for your spot in line? He's like, would you be willing to sell your spot in line? And I'm like, I might be, I'm not totally sure yet, but I might be. It's like, if you come back. So then everybody starts deliberating over whether or not that's a good idea. It's like the resale value on these things is going to be huge. It might not be worth it. Mind you, like I don't have to put up any money to get this spot in line. None.
Mm-hmm.
In the morning, he comes back and he's like, would you be willing to part with your spot in line for $800 cash?
Ooh.
And I was like, yeah, I would. I immediately was like, I will do that.
Yeah. You're the first guy off the plane.
He pulls it out of his pocket, starts with a big stack of hundreds. And I'm like, that's never good. A guy with a big stack of hundreds with a note tattoo is clearly a guy who's up to no good. That's in some place in his life, right? He breaks me off $800. And then he goes, all right. He goes, I'll be back in the morning and, or whatever. I gave him the ticket. This might happen right before. I forget specifically, but I give him that. And he gives me the money and he goes, all right. He goes, but you got to come inside with me. And I'm like, okay. And Brent looks at me and goes, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that. He goes, you see the guys that guy's with? Like, we look over there, these sketchy guys. We're like, oh my God. So right before we go in the store, I see the guy motion to his friends going, like motioning for them to go around the back. Because what you would do, you go into Best Buy, you go in the back, get your PS4 or PS3, and then you walk out the back. And that's how you get out. So we get in the store and mind you, the guy kind of motions to his group to go out around the back. I'm like, fuck, what's going to happen here? He, inside the store, goes, how much did I give you for that again? I was like, $800. He goes, that was too much. He goes, we're going to take care of that when we get outside.
Oh, God.
And I was like, oh, my God, dude. So I was like, oh my God. I know. I was like, what have I got myself into? Are you
that
serious?
wasn't a negotiation.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, oh my God. I'm going to get my ass beat or threatened or people are going to hold me up and I'm going to have to give this money back.
I'm going to get my ass beat or worse, threatened.
Yeah. So I'm sweating. Brent goes around back and he gets his and he goes out. And I text him. I'm like, dude, go to the car. And I'm going to try to sneak away from Miles and I'm going to jump in the car and we're going to drive away. So he's like, okay. So he goes to the car. I'm like waiting. I'm like, when the fuck is he going to get in the car? And finally he's like, I'm here. I kind of quit. I see him look the other way. I sneak back, run out to the car, speed away, get away with it. And then for the next 2 months, I had friends of mine were pranking me from random numbers being like, it's Miles. But dude, that is the only time that I did that, waited in line. And the PS3s did not have any resale value at all.
Wow.
So people were buying them for however much, 400 and selling them for 420. So it ended up being the heist of a lifetime.
You did it.
$800 profit.
Yeah. Wow. Good for you.
Thanks, man. Sorry for going off.
Wait, it was 800 profit?
Yeah, because I didn't have to buy it. He bought my place in line for $800 cash.
Yeah, that's solid.
And bro, at the time, you know how much money that was for me? I was selling my blood for $50.
Yeah, right. You were.
It was huge. So that is my waiting in line story.
That's a good story. That's
Get
a
some
great.
ASP Thursday hats.
I didn't expect that to go as well as it did. I have tried to wonder. Here's a question, right? We do this a lot. We quantify time value.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So the question I have for you is, what would you need to be paid now for to wait in line overnight, sleeping in a folding chair on the store outside of a store for an item?
Probably $5,000
for one night?
Yeah. I wouldn't do it for $2,500. Would you?
No.
How much would you do it for? Also, it depends how cold it is and stuff. If it's not that cold, if it's like a pleasant temperature, that brings the price down.
Well, I'm trying to think about it from two angles. The first is, okay, let's say that I knew that the item I was getting, I just had no intention of keeping, and therefore it is just a money question, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I think it would have to be at least... Dude, sleeping outside for a night in a line is really miserable.
It's horrible.
That's a nightmare.
It's horrible, dude.
That's such a bad situation.
I didn't sleep a wink. Can't sleep in that
in an armchair, surrounded by people who are obsessed with PlayStations.
We didn't show up prepared. At one point, it started pouring too. We didn't have umbrellas. We had to go in the car. Fucking like it was this whole thing, dude.
Think about the different types of people that do these things, right? It's people who get really excited about Star Wars premieres.
Right.
That's probably a relatively safe group, right?
Right.
It's people who get excited about rare, sneaker releases.
Correct. Yeah.
And
video game consoles,
iPhones.
I think, yeah.
I remember outside of Madison Square Garden one time, I was city biking by, and there was this shanty town of tents that had come up that were all people who were traveling with some band I'd never heard of.
Oh, like
and it
groupies?
was like young people.
Roadies?
Almost, it wasn't a K-pop band, but it would have been that sort of a thing.
Right.
And I thought that was really stupid.
Is there an item that you would even do that for? I can't think of one for me personally. Something that I'd be willing to wait so that I could get it. I can't think of one thing.
I'm wondering that too. Is there something I desire so much?
And it's hard to think about this because given the things that people do this for, I would never do that. However, if there was some item that I really wanted that by waiting I could get it, like, sure, that's different. But as far as like what's real and what actually happens,
yeah,
definitely
so
not.
like if for me, if there was a store that was releasing engagement rings at retail, like at cost,
Right.
you
Wholesale,
know, only charging
Exactly,
you what
yeah.
they got the diamond for from the conflict diamond area, and you know the cost of gluing it to the gold band. So I'm getting a $40,000 ring for $600.
Right.
Maybe I would spend the night for that. Yeah.
Right. I wish that I had kind of opened some kind of like trading fund when I was 16 for like the engagement ring fund.
I know.
I imagine that $1,000 would have gone really far.
Yeah. It would have.
You know, it's 20 years have gone by almost.
Do you know that there was a time when there was a bakery in New York City. I think it's called Ansel Cafe Ansel or something.
Is this a cronut?
The Cronut.
I remember this.
Yeah, the Cronut.
The cronut was a craze.
A donut croissant hybrid.
Who the fuck cares about that?
People
did.
cared.
People cared a lot.
And they would hire Postmates people to wait in the line to get it for them and then just pay them their hourly rate.
That's smart.
So in theory, if you really cared about this, you can hire line waiters
Right.
to act as your proxy to retrieve your item.
That's the move.
But
it seems
here's the
like.
problem, Giulio. You have to trust that your line waiter is going to honor his commitment to Postmates, right? Because as soon as he catches wind, which, by the way, is about 10 minutes into waiting in that line,
Right.
that the pair of Yeezy sneakers that he's waiting for resale for $2,000 and you're just paying him his hourly rate of $20 an hour, why on earth wouldn't he just say, fuck this,
Totally.
and get the thing himself?
Right. He should do that. But no, he would have to put the money up, which maybe he might not. If he's a Postmate, he might not have, you know.
It's
But I guess
true.
Yeezys, like, they're cheap when when they first come out.
Whatever it may be. Some item, yeah,
Right,
that's crazy jacked up.
Dude, so a friend of mine had a wedding at the Metropolitan Club on like wherever it is, and right on the Upper East Side, right near right near the park. Beautiful, incredible wedding, black tie, everyone's fancy. But the thing that stood out the most about the wedding was that there were cronuts for dessert.
No way.
During the cronut phase, I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
I didn't realize he had clout like this.
That's big time. That's big time. And it's also one of those things where I wonder, clearly they probably just went to the bakery and said, we want 400 cronuts.
Right.
What's that going to cost?
Right.
And I bet you the bakery was like, not that much, you know?
What's wrong with
Because
you
when they
people?
were selling those cronuts to those people waiting in line, they were still only selling them for $5, $4
Oh,
probably.
really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I
They
hope
didn't,
so.
They didn't become the flight club of cronuts.
Right.
They didn't start jacking up their cronuts to $25, $30. I
Right.
don't think.
And you know, there's no resale value for cronuts. Like,
Exactly.
There's no idiot freezing cronuts being like, psst, I got cronuts. Like,
Yeah.
who the fuck are you, dude?
Yeah, I got a 95 first edition cronut. It's like, dude, are you sure that's not just ice? Thing looks nightmarish.
Dude, there's just carcinogens and
Yeah.
fucking kill you if you eat
Freezer
it.
burn.
Dude, that's great. man.
Speaking of freezer burn, I got to tell you. So, well, first of all, we're back from our Christmas break,
Yes, we are.
and I went home to Maine, and
Did you have a nice time?
I met my niece for the first
Unbelievable,
time.
man. Congrats.
Baby Hayes.
That must have been pretty great.
It was spectacular.
Very cool.
It was just a I don't even really know how to describe it, but this is the first baby I've been related to. and it's more exciting.
That's very cool.
And I have to say, we had a lot of bonding moments. I spent a lot of time holding her. She's only 3 weeks old.
So you gotta like hold her head and stuff.
Yeah. And she will look all over the place.
Mhm.
And then I would kind of want her to look at me
Mhm.
because I wanted her attention. And so I would move my head into her line of sight. And then she would look away, and that annoyed me. I'd be like, "No, look at me."
Right,
Look
that
at
is
me.
interesting.
I wanted the baby to stare at me.
If they're like a pet still, like sometimes it's hard to get a cat to like look at you. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
weird, yeah.
She was a little bit of a cat. Yeah. So that was what the first thing, right?
Mhm.
The second thing was, I have to say that my takeaway from the whole experience was that human life is precious,
Mm.
but in two ways. The first way, the obvious way, is that meeting the baby made me think, oh my God, this is so cool. Seeing my parents glow around the baby.
Was that weird?
And it was, yeah, it was.
It's like unprecedented. It's the first time,
Exactly. And how just they're softer people. My mom was willing to let things go that she normally doesn't.
right?
And
Oh wow.
the general happiness
They
in
were
the house.
poisoned by the baby morale.
Yeah, everything about it was just, everyone was just much more happy and low key and excited because the baby's sort of a panacea. She just like, that's not the right word. Is panacea the right word? I think it's the right word. Can you look that up? Just a cure-all,
Okay,
right?
Got it.
Any fight that we could have, 30 seconds later, everyone's looking at the baby and nobody's mad anymore,
Right.
right? It's just evaporates.
The ultimate
gone.
neutralizer.
Total perspective rebalancer.
Fresh, relevant human life.
Yeah. And, you know, my parents have had, some health scares over the last couple of years. My dad's had 2 bouts with prostate cancer.
Oh man, I didn't
that
know
was that was more when I was in college.
crazy.
My mom has had some blocked arteries and heart issues. My mom is about to be 70. My dad's 66. So it's natural, right?
Yeah.
And first of all, I'm so grateful that my parents lived long enough to meet their grandchild.
Yeah.
Now, I hate to say this, but even I desperately want them to meet my children,
Mhm.
but at least they lived long enough to see the next generation.
Yes.
You know,
it's a nice thing.
in its newest form.
It's a nice thing.
And we've talked about this before. You know, my girlfriend's dad passed away
Yes.
not too long ago, about 2.5 years ago. And I can say that the holidays were a little overwhelming
Yeah.
for her, especially in this setting where she came up and saw and was with our family. And, you know, seeing my dad just melt over his granddaughter
Yeah.
is a very sad, in a way. It's a wonderful thing.
You
but
can't take that element out of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's very sad. It's a reminder to her, unfortunately, that her father never got the chance to meet her daughter
Yeah.
or son. And
Yeah.
that's
It's hard.
so sad.
That sucks.
So she was very stoic in a way, but at one point she sort of had to excuse herself and just collect herself a little bit. And you know, it was a heavy, but I don't know, a very kind of eye-opening moment for me about the sanctity and the sacredness of human life and all of that.
Yeah.
Now, with all that out of the way, the other side of how precious human life is.
Oh boy.
My sister met her husband a little under 3 years ago,
Yes.
right? Right around the time when they were the age that I am now.
Yes.
In the space of 3 years, they have gotten married and had a baby
Mm.
from the day that they met, right?
Yes.
My life right now is so awesome because I don't have a baby
Mhm.
and I have no commitments or lives to really look out for. I can go on a ski trip at the drop of a hat.
You can.
I can book a whimsical Paris romantic getaway with my girlfriend
You can.
tomorrow. We just need to find someone to look after the dog, and we've got people lined up for
And
that.
you do.
If I'm not careful, my precious life could disappear like that.
Yeah.
Meaning,
The sibling rivalry is renewed.
we could have a kid
You could.
so quickly.
Yeah.
We could get married and have children and fall into that life that they have so fast. It happened so fast for them.
Yeah.
Now, they wanted it, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. But I could lose the life and the ease and the flexibility and the fun that I have, that we have,
Yeah.
very quickly.
Yeah.
And it made me realize just how precious not having a baby is.
Yeah. Dude, wow. That's very true.
Isn't that kind of funny?
It is kind of crazy. And what else? And what I have to say to that is it's very difficult to picture what your life, how you will get to the next step of your life.
Yes.
Like I remember when I was 26, I was like, how the fuck am I ever going to afford anything? Literally, I was like, what the fuck? How am I ever going to do any of this? And then I was like, and people are like, oh, your earning years are coming up. And I'm like, how the fuck am I going to earn it? What, like, you know what I mean? I just had no idea how that would even be possible. And then somehow it just was.
Yeah.
You just got to trust the trajectory of your life.
The money will come.
If you think 3-4 years in the future and start having anxiety about it, it's really an unhealthy exercise. It's a hard thing to avoid doing, but like, you don't know. Nobody knows.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what,
Yeah.
being present. I was watching some movie. I hate when this happens. I hate when I hear a quote and I'm like, God damn it. I'm like, that's going to
That
haunt me for years.
resonated. Damn it. Yeah.
It's like, how can you, it's like something about how you just carry your past with you and you're just constantly living like the worst moments in your life all the time. And
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
fuck. I'm like, this is going to take me 10 years to forget that. But like, it's a hard, it's a hard thing to check it and be present.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that you were able to kind of see both sides of the coin. And it is important to have those moments where you're like, wow, human life is fucking precious.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, exactly. Right. And I think the important thing for me was that it made me so appreciative of what they have done and how awesome. It's like this crazy magic trick where they just baked the coolest cake of all time. And now it's like reacting and, it's the best puppy I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was saying this to Chris when because we had litters of we had a dog who was, a 10 out of 10, like gorgeous, almost like show dog, a yellow lab who everyone loved. And so we bred her. And she had 2 litters of puppies in my youth. And in the wake of those litters, you don't separate the puppies from the mother for like 8 to 12 weeks. I don't know what it is. So we had 8 weeks twice where we had like 10 puppies.
That's insane.
And it was the best time of my life.
Yeah, I'm
I
sure.
remember getting off the school bus and jogging home and just jumping into the puppy pen and lying down and letting them crawl all over me and lick my face and rolling around and just squealing and having, it was the most fun thing ever, right?
The pool full of puppies.
Yeah. And that was like 10 puppies, right? Puppies are awesome. Everyone loves puppies.
They're great.
A baby is an even cooler puppy.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. The other thing that's fucked up about babies is like, it's insane to watch them learn everything for the first time.
Yeah.
Like they're just so curious. Even like toddlers just walking around and they like pick something up and you see this look on their face. They're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
They're like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then they start doing shit with it. They're like, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, did I break it? Oh.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine how cool that would be to discover everything? Be like,
Yeah.
start touching you and like,
what would be the thing that you would be if you wiped the slate clean? What would be the thing you'd be the most excited to discover for the first time?
not fucking ejaculation, dude.
Sure, that's got to be
Same
up
way
there.
it was same thing way it was the first time around, dude. What the fuck? What is that?
I was gonna say, eating the first bite of like a really delicious ice cream flavor.
Yeah.
That
I wish I remember. Like a flavor. Okay, when you're old
like
enough
you're not starting with vanilla. You're starting with Talenti. Caramel cookie crunch that's been brought slightly to room temperature.
The perfect
and you get a
temperature.
very caramelly, crunchy bite.
And
that's your first bite of ice cream.
It's such a perfect temperature that you get way too much on the spoon, but it doesn't matter. It's
and
just
you're like, what is this? I've never had this before.
Yeah.
Is this food? Oh, okay, I'll try it. And that first bite, right? That's up there with an orgasm, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a good thought. If you wipe the slate clean and you got to experience everything for the first time, like what's the order that you're going in? I mean, it's definitely foods, definitely sensations.
Yeah.
Getting your back scratched by somebody with
pace
good
yourself,
nails. Oh.
Don't do it all in one day.
Yeah, don't do it all. Spread it out.
Spread it out.
Drugs. Getting high for the first time.
Dude.
Oh my God.
So fun.
Oh my God.
So fun.
And then eating the ice cream again?
Oh
my God. Get out. No, but you got to pace it. You got to spread it out. What about, yeah. And then one day you could just do them all at once.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. You start really building towards that.
Yeah.
What a nice thing that would be.
So it was a really cool thing to meet my niece.
Very cool.
And I'm excited to be an uncle. I've always thought that was a very cool role.
Yeah, it's a great role.
And I'm really excited. Now,
it's nice to be a real uncle too.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before, like there's something shitty about being a fake uncle. There's an implication that you don't have enough close family.
What's a fake uncle?
Oh, Uncle Julio's here when you're not related to the people.
Like an honorary.
Oh, say hi to Uncle Giulio. It's like, guys, I have like people in my life, okay?
Yeah.
They're like, come in. It must be so hard for you being so lonely and alone.
They don't know what else
Uncle
to call
Giulio?
you. Yeah.
Get on in here. The liquor's in the cabinet. So, I don't know. What were you going to say?
No, that's just, I love that. You're just the drifter who's always around and they call you uncle to help
Giulio.
the children understand it better. They can't say like, well, he's been kicked out of another house.
Yeah.
Because another bad relationship went south.
Yeah.
So being an uncle is very cool. It's funny though, you mentioned dragging your past with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on the way back, we drove back from Maine, and the way up was really tough. It took us 7.5 hours of driving to get there.
I don't understand how long it normally takes though. Like how long?
No traffic. It's 5 hours and 15 minutes.
Okay, that's significant delays.
Oh yeah, it was all getting out of the city.
Yeah.
And it was a nightmare, dude.
Damn.
And dude,
What day did you leave?
We left on December 23rd.
Got it. Because I left on the 24th.
In the afternoon.
And I think I like dodged a little of that.
Yeah,
It wasn't as
December
bad.
23rd.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, we got absolutely smoked.
Yeah,
We
that
weren't
makes
even
sense.
out past Connecticut. It took an hour and a half
That makes sense.
to get out of the city.
It's like people work a half day.
Yeah.
And then they get,
We just totally fucked ourselves. But
whatever.
we finally got up there, right? And this is what was crazy. On the way up, my mom got sick and she had vertigo and she started throwing up.
What the fuck?
And this apparently happens, an inner ear thing.
So it's not, for some reason, and I associate it with like the movie.
Yeah. it's
But
not
like it
that.
has nothing to do with heights.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, I don't think so. I think it's an inner ear balance.
You just kind of start being like,
You feel dizzy.
Like, yeah.
And then and it's happened to her.
you're like
before.
crossfading from life.
It's exactly what it is. And it's very severe. People like when elderly people get it, they need to call for help.
Oh, fuck. That sucks.
So my mom was
Sorry to hear that.
laid up and not doing well, but we didn't know exactly what it was. Now, we were driving up with the intention of staying away from my parents for the first night. We had scheduled a rapid test at the Walgreens in Maine nearby
Got it.
for Thursday morning.
Got it.
So our plan was to wake up, go get that rapid test, hopefully get our negative results, and then we could integrate with the family.
Yeah. That was a good move. I waited 3.5 hours in the city. to get
Interesting.
there. Yeah.
We had
Continue.
scheduled ours.
Good. You handled it very well.
My sister and her husband and the baby were driving up from Boston, same time as us, but they also had their COVID tests scheduled for Thursday
In Maine.
Got
it.
And so when they found out that my mom was sick and us not knowing what it was, they didn't, whether it was a viral infection or something, they didn't want to expose the baby to that. So they took the cottage that we stayed in all summer.
Yes.
Right. And my girlfriend and I got a hotel room in town on Wednesday night.
Jesus. Merry Christmas indeed.
So we're staying at a hotel that's 4 minutes away from our house, which is something people do, but we had never done it before. And it felt very weird and like out of a movie, like the in-laws are in town, you know? And
I'm not against that.
It wasn't bad.
I'm not against that at all.
It wasn't bad, but we like the homely feel. We like to, there's plenty of room in the house. So we like to be within and, you know, curled up by the fire, everybody around playing games or watching TV and then going up to bed.
So, dude, I love it too, but I don't have a room in my house.
Okay.
And
that's a big difference.
So we stay in the basement and there's a big kind of fold out thing that's like, it's like a queen size. It's plenty of room for us to sleep on.
Mm-hmm.
However, my dad, the guy, he has this like little routine. And sometimes he'll just be doing shit for the sake of doing it. Like he'll be in the backyard raking and there's one leaf and he's raking one leaf. I'm like, dude, you don't need to be doing that. So he'll come in the basement. So first of all, my mom has cats. So the cats are upstairs because Hillary's a little allergic and I am a little too. So I don't want to like beat them to be, and also they fuck with you. Like the cat will start doing this to you in your sleep and you wake up and he hides.
Yeah.
Like they're mischievous, you know?
Oh yeah, they're horrible.
So anyway, my dad will come downstairs in the morning while we're sleeping. And I'm like, what are you doing? He lets the cats down by accident. I then have to shoo the cats. Oh, sorry. I'm like, what are you doing? So then I lock the door. 5 minutes later, I hear like him trying to open the door and I hear him go, fuck. I'm like, this sucks. I'm like, I want to stay in a hotel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So right.
I get that though. That's different.
Yeah.
If you don't have the privacy.
Right.
Did your parents move from your childhood home?
Interesting question. So my room became my brother's room. Like it was my brother's room.
Oh, you shared it. Yeah.
Yes. And my brother had stayed there longer than I did. And he's also younger than me. So it then ended up just becoming his room.
Mm-hmm.
So when he's there, he gets the room, which I'm fine with.
Of course. Yeah.
And then there's like a study, but the bed situation isn't big enough for this, there, whatever. So they set up a situation in the basement that was conducive with me being comfortable when I come over.
I see.
And I am, but I want my girlfriend to have privacy.
Right.
I don't care if my dad comes down when I'm down there, but
yeah, I get that. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, hotel rooms right now, first of all, hotels right now, checkout time, 3 p.m.
What the fuck?
Think about it.
Is that different?
They can't, I don't know if this is true everywhere, but a lot of hotels can't turn over a room night after night after night because of COVID. So they need to like give it a night to breathe and they sanitize it after you stay, which means that they're not in a rush to kick you out.
Right. So that may just been, I've stayed in quite a few hotels during this and I've never heard of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But
because people have said it to me,
and
then that was the first time I stayed in a hotel and experienced it.
Because I remember too, like when I was just in Atlanta for work, the first time I was in Atlanta for work in June, they were doing that where like they wouldn't even come in your room. Like,
that's the flip side. If you're staying multiple nights, they don't come in and
But
clean.
now I just went back to Atlanta and that has changed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a changing policy, whatever. But
dude, I will say that staying in a hotel room multiple nights in a row where they don't come in and clean is a very dark experience.
It's not great.
Because you destroy hotel rooms.
Yeah.
You don't make your bed in a hotel. You don't lay your clothes. You don't hang your clothing up unless you're going to wear it for an event that you're there for. And so your stuff is just everywhere. And you're not going to sit in the chair. You're either on the bed or in the bathroom.
Totally. And not having cleaned it, there's an implication like you just didn't leave the room.
Exactly.
And that's why
you're
they're
hiding.
Like, housekeeping, or they come in and you forget to put the thing. You're like, come back later. Fuck.
Yeah. Oh, the towels.
The fucking towels.
Just destroy the towels.
So, okay. So keep going.
So, carrying our pass with us. We that was us driving up. Driving back, we left it. We did not want to encounter crazy traffic, so we made a real effort to get out early Sunday morning. We were up at 7:15 this morning.
Great. Wow.
We got on the road by like 8:30.
So guys, we want you to know too how committed we are to bringing you guys fresh fucking episodes. There's no way we're throwing in the towel and doing a best of episode so we can go gallivant.
Yeah.
Francis got his ass up at 7 a.m. I left my sweet little parents holding each other as I fucking came back here because we are committed to putting out new episodes for you always, no matter what.
We want to take, a week to go and celebrate New Year's and stuff, which we're going to do. But we don't want to just air old episodes or whatever. So we're putting these out. We're recording this ahead of time. It's right now it's Sunday the 28th. Just a little how the sausage is made. Not to make you think this is old and stale. It's Sunday the 27th. But the point is that this morning I woke up and drove from Maine to New York so that we could record the podcast.
You sure did.
And it's 5 hours. I flew, dude. I drove fast.
Good.
I drove fast.
I'm glad you made it here safe.
But it's an interesting drive because for the first 3 hours, the roads are almost empty.
Interesting.
And then you get to Connecticut and it becomes very clogged.
Interesting. What part of Connecticut? Like close to New York or like at Boston? There's no congestion.
We got around Boston
north,
quick enough. We got around it quick enough that it didn't clog up. The roads in Maine are nuts. You can drive 100 and people are like, "Why are you driving so slow?" Dude,
it's like that in Montana.
You could land a plane on that highway at any time and you wouldn't really run a risk of running into cars.
And you're like, what the fuck is that? Like, you never seen a plane before?
This is my driveway.
So wait, where in Connecticut does it start?
Around New Haven, maybe a little before.
That makes sense.
It's when that road becomes that ridiculous narrow 2-lane highway where there are trees planted all in the middle.
The Merritt Parkway.
Dude, that thing is fucking nuts, man.
It's crazy.
They need to fix that. They need to make that a 21st century road.
My dad will always be like, it's one of the top 10 most beautiful scenic highways in America.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but it's also nightmarish.
There's also deer everywhere. It's like stressful to drive on.
There are no, everyone, both left lane and right lane, everyone's driving the same speed.
Yeah. And the merging situation's tough.
The merges, people are coming on from a stopped position.
Yes. My mom won't even drive on the Merritt.
They're entering a highway from a stop sign.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And you don't know if they're going to be like, fuck this. I've been waiting long enough. Boom. And get out in front of you. So you're eyeing everyone with suspicion.
Dude, you need like a nitrous oxide. To
By this point,
diesel.
I had made up enough time. I was like, okay, I'm not in a rush to make it the last 40% of the trip. But dude, there were people, you start running into drivers who are more New York City type drivers.
Yeah. More aggressive.
The weavers.
Yep.
Dude, you ever see these weavers
course.
You don't even see them coming and all of a sudden your rear mirror is full of car?
Yes. He just like appears. It's like,
and
all right,
he's
Tokyo
by
Drift,
you
fucking take it
and
easy.
he's swerving in and out of cars that there's no space between them. It's as if he's a taxi cab driver driving a 7th Avenue, except he's on a highway. You're like, what are you running from?
It's insane.
And it's terrifying.
Yeah. I'm like, do you think that's fun, dude? I'm just like, you're an idiot.
He's going to kill a family with twins.
And he's the guy who goes, I've never gotten into an accident. And then he gets into one.
I just don't understand. It's unless they think it's fun, unless they get off to the risk of driving like that, I don't know why anyone would be in that much of a hurry.
Yeah, dude.
Why that's his pace of driving.
It's pretty crazy.
So we got back. Now, remember when I told you that I have been very stressed lately because I just keep getting in trouble, and that I got in trouble so much.
Can we tell them about my text to you?
Yes. Yes. God damn it.
So this is funny. So a friend of mine.
Well, let me before you say that, in the almost 2 years now a year and a half that we've been doing the podcast, you've only gotten mad at me once.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, really mad at me.
Really?
Yeah, it was for something that I let slip to a friend of yours, and I shouldn't have done it. I didn't mean to. I didn't even realize that it was like at the time. I didn't even realize that it was sensitive information.
I wasn't even that mad, and it was my fault.
You weren't that mad.
I texted you about it, and I should have called you, but I was in the basement. I had no service.
Yeah.
And I was on the treadmill. But dude, fucking, that was, I forget what I was going to say, but I wasn't that mad about that.
He wasn't that mad. And it was a stupid thing for me to have done, but I did not do it maliciously. I wasn't even like gossiping.
That's what I was going to say. It's that I had to address it just to make sure that you were aware.
Yes.
That you were getting me, you were getting me in trouble.
So whatever. It was fine. But that was the only time we never fight. Julia and I, we work things out. We see eye to eye on almost everything. Chris too. Like
we actually communicate well too.
Yes. Right. We are a very highly functioning couple.
Yes.
So
we are.
All of that is to say that Giulio sends me a 40-line text. And it ended with something.
I can laugh.
Where when you get that text, right, whether you like it or not, you only end up reading the bottom line before you scroll up and start at the beginning. You glance, you see the bottom line, and the bottom line was something jarring.
Yeah, so essentially a friend of mine texted me saying Merry Christmas. I said Merry Christmas back, and then he sent me this cut and paste being like, hey, Giulio, that's great that you celebrate Christmas, but I don't. And it's this whole thing about how it's insensitive to wish people Merry Christmas, which is like, I understand, but it was funny. I was laughing because it was ridiculous. And like, so the last sentence of this cut and paste text is, it's just ill-fitting and uncomfortable.
Yeah. Right?
Which
so
is
that's
like,
the only thing I read at the end of this fucking Leviathan text. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Dude, the change from peaceful, happy, holding my niece vibes to my podcast co-host has discovered something I did that is a horrible thing that I'm going to have to, how much damage control am I about to face? Is it a whole evening? Is it a weekend? Like, what are we talking about here? And it's immediately I'm flooded with that, just those toxic waters of trouble, just trouble and stress.
So we started thinking, and Francis had mentioned this to me before, that he spoke to his girlfriend and she's not allowed to start a conversation with him by being like, hey, we should talk about.
Yeah, or can I talk to you really quick?
Yeah.
She can't start sentences that way.
And I said that maybe I should implement a 5-line or less text policy.
Yeah. And you know what's funny, dude? Exactly. You need a limit. You need a limit. Now, what's funny is I remember one time in college, I got in trouble, for the lacrosse team, and I had to tell the coach about something. Nothing big deal. And so I led the text off to the coach with like, hey, coach, not a big deal. Everything's okay. Just give me a call when you have a second. And he couldn't call me at the minute. So he texted me back and he was like, whenever you text me, not a big deal. Everything's okay. I know something is really bad. For me, it's honestly the opposite. When people are going to send me a long message or have something big, I would rather that they be like, hey, green light, or, fluffy cotton candy, all well, just have something I want to run by you.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, I will believe that. I'd like to hear that disclaimer.
Right.
Because as I said, my head, the pit in my stomach as I'm scrolling up and reading the text, and I immediately responded to Giulio like, dude, what did I say?
He goes, dude, I didn't read it and just saw the links. And then he goes in capitals, and once again assumed I was in trouble.
Always thinking I'm in trouble.
It's funny. And dude, I actually added a sentence text on purpose, hoping that you wouldn't see the length of the first one. And because I knew that you would have that reaction.
Yeah. I freaked out. But it happened again today. So, okay, get this, dude. My girlfriend is the prime offender. And so here's what happened. She's sitting in the passenger seat. She's got my phone. And my brother-in-law sends me a text. And it turned out to be an absolutely hysterical text, which I kind of want to share. But he had found old family photo albums of ours, which include handwritten sort of updates from our old nanny that we had, who was this British woman, like a straight up Mary Poppins, who was like working to get her green card. and we found her, and my parents were both working, so they hired a nanny when they'd had a second kid, and she was with us till I was like, I don't know, 3 or 4. So this particular note, it's like my parents were out working or whatever, and the nanny would write like, all well, Francis pooped twice and da-da-da. But on this one, it was very funny. The note, I'm not going to tell you what the note said yet, but my brother-in-law was reading these notes, and he wrote he took a screenshot of the note and sent it to me, and then wrote, "This is so funny. I found these old family albums, separate text, like been reading them all day, separate text." And then the last text was, which is the only one that came up on my lock screen, was him quoting the note, and it goes, it ends with, "What on earth is wrong with Francis?" So my girlfriend turns to me and she goes, "Uh-oh."
Oh no.
She goes, "Fran, your brother-in-law, AJ, just sent you a text, and I think he's mad at you."
Oh no.
Now,
dude.
we had a slightly, not tense moment, but I wanted to post an Instagram photo with me and my niece, which I did. And I made it funny. I'm holding her in one arm. I've got a beer in the other arm. They had given me a shirt for Christmas that said Funkle.
Yes.
And I wanted to play on that by holding an adoring gaze upon the beer while I've got the baby in the other arm. Just a little bit of a joke, right?
Yes.
And of course, my sister, my brother-in-law, he doesn't even have social media. He's in the military. They value their privacy, and they're also aware that certainly when I was at Barstool, some of my fans, I can't say fans, I had a lot of trolls who would come out and say horrific, mean things no matter what I posted.
Dude, you got in trouble for that post?
I didn't, but he was like, if one person comments something negative, I'm not going to be happy. Like, it's going to be really hard because this is my family. He was like, go ahead and post it, but, I don't want people saying bad stuff about our family.
Yes.
And I was like, I totally understand that. I even said I could turn comments off. My sister was like, it's probably not a big deal, whatever. So I posted it. Everyone, sure enough, was very positive and like, congratulations, beautiful child. Haha.
I actually checked the comments to make sure because I was concerned.
Yeah. And it's a testament to
Chris
me
is currently doing
to
that.
how much I feel like I've shed the rotten apples.
Controversial skin.
I've shed the rotten apples of my old Barstool days, and now I've got a much more balanced sort of like with it crowd that follows me, and thank God it's so much.
Thank you all for being
God,
a good
dude.
group.
My audience, my following on Instagram went from when I was at Barstool, it was 88% male, 12% female, and now it's like 64-36.
Love it.
Thank God.
Love it.
It's just so much more evolved and elevated. Anyway, nothing against Barstool. I don't get the hate that I used to, and it's such a welcome day.
It's good, dude.
All of that is to say, my girlfriend turns to me, says this, and immediately I think he's read comments on his niece's Instagram, introduction to my world, and is now flipping out and is going to like send out his SEAL Team 6 buddies to like first kill the commenters and then come find me and just, torture me a little bit.
And like, have you seen that movie Tenet yet?
No, but I want to.
It's good. I really liked it a lot. But
a lot of people didn't, but I know I'm going to.
I liked it a lot. I'd be curious to see what you have to say. But there's one moment where he tells him, he's like, I'm going to cut a hole in your throat and then put your balls in the hole. And he goes, it's so nice to see a man you don't like choke on his own balls. Or something. And I was like, that's what they would do to you.
That's what they would do with one of those knives that not only can cut throats, but also bread really well on the backside. Is that what that's for?
I'm not
or is
sure.
it for cutting saplings?
I'm not really sure.
You know how it's a big serrated blade on the back?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Is that for
Actually.
bread? It can't be for bread.
I have no idea.
I don't think that the SEALs are carrying good bread knives. I don't know.
I know what you mean, though. It has
Yeah.
like the thing.
It's probably for bone.
But, dude, I'll be sure in a couple months from now to text you, are you fucking serious, out of the blue,
Yeah.
just to ruin your day.
I don't know. I don't know how to calm down from this fear where I'm looking around corners for the next bad text message. That's what it is.
You need 6 months to go by without
You need a clean
getting
slate.
in trouble, is what you need.
Yeah, I need to space it out.
And then you'll stop looking over your shoulder.
Oh, it's dreadful.
I wish you the best, dude.
Thanks, pal.
Well, guys, oops, the podcast. For Chris, what do you got?
Can you finish that story? You didn't.
Did I not finish it?
No.
Oh, it turned out. Yeah, the
Okay,
last
sorry.
thought. Good point, Chris. So he was just laughing and he was summarizing what the nanny had said, which was that Lyndon, my sister, went to bed at 8:00. All was well. Francis has been up in his room stomping his feet for the last 2 hours. I went up to check on him and he was playing with the light switch. What is wrong with Francis? Question mark, exclamation point. That's what my brother-in-law was quoting, but without quotation marks.
Oh, God.
And so I was like, oh God, what have I done? Imagine just me being up there being like, off and on. That's
We
the
gotta
kid I
get your
was.
girlfriend also on the same page.
Yeah,
She
I
should
know.
know better.
I've told her 100 times. Refuses to.
Well, guys, Happy New Year. Happy 2021. Great to have you. We're looking forward to another big year. It's been a huge year for the podcast. I know it's been a tough year in general. It has been for us as well. So this has been a great silver lining. As always, at Oops the Podcast, hit us up. Let us know what's going on. oopsthepodcast@gmail.com. Francis, what else you got?
Pour some champagne and toast yourselves, guys. Let's turn the corner and, if nothing else, move forward into the new year with a sense of hope. And we'll be there with you for all the laughs and good faith. So
Absolutely.
thank you for being with us.
You made it. See you next time. Guys, if you like this video, we got plenty of other videos. Just click and subscribe and check them out. Thank you very much.
Oops.